Gentlemen, why is it today, 2,000 years later, we still look to the Greeks as the ideal of masculinity? So when we look at the statues of the ancient Greeks, we see men that have raw, dense muscle and are ready for action. And the philosophers, the ancient Greek philosophers, are the ones who shaped Western culture. We hold them in such high regard because they constantly pursued Arete. And Arete in ancient Greek is excellence, or more specifically, it is the fulfillment of purpose. Now, a cup, for example, has a arete, and that is to hold liquid. And if it has a leak, then it is not a good cup, and it has lost its arete. An ox, for example, has arete in that it can pull a cart. It does what it does. Its purpose is to pull carts and pull plows. Men, however, have a more complex arete. You see, we can reason, we can interact with the physical world in a way that animals can't, and in a way that inanimate objects can't. The Greeks thought of arete as a combination, a synthesis of mind, body, and character. And I think we can take a note from their books and build upon 5 pillars of fitness in order to create the conditions for our own arete in the modern world. And that is the subject of today's video. The first pillar is our physical fitness. The Greeks knew that our bodies are the vessels that are intended to carry us across for the entirety of our lives, and that if we don't maintain these vessels, then they will sink down to the depths. And a vessel that has sunk down to the depths is not fulfilling its purpose. It does not have arete. And it is much harder to raise that ship, fix it, and get it back onto the seas. So it is better to build a strong body from youth and to continue going to the gym little bits every day and embracing activities that make life a little bit harder in order to strengthen our bodies. And what can we do in the modern world? Of course, we have gyms and things. That's great. And we should go to our gyms, and we should go a couple of days a week, and we should always explore new avenues of fitness. But in addition to that, we should also look for opportunities to eschew the conveniences of the modern world. Maybe do something simple like walk to the grocery store instead of drive. These small things add up over time. And this is one of the reasons why people fall off on their New Year's fitness resolutions anyway, because they try to bite off more than they can chew, when in reality, what they should be doing is nibbling throughout the day. These small opportunities for additional activity and additional fitness in a world of effortless conveniences. And if your body then is the vessel, then your emotions are the rudder that steer you either into calm seas or into storms or maybe even into rocks. See, in the ancient world, they separated their emotions from their intellect. This is one of the core tenets of Stoicism. It is not to be emotionless, it is to have a consciousness of your emotion and to regulate your emotions in a way that is productive and healthy. If, in fact, we are emotionally unstable, then we act rash. And if we act rash, then we find ourselves making situations worse. Arguments get worse. We may even get ourselves, things might escalate into a fight, things might escalate into an arrest. On the other end of the spectrum, we end up being paralyzed because of fear. Emotional regulation gives us new opportunities and gives us stability in our lives. So the rudder will take us towards calm seas. I know this is hard to do in an emotionally charged world, but it's important for us to take a step back when we start to feel our emotions rise and say, what is this emotion? Why am I feeling it? Is it something that may get out of control? And can I step away from the situation to cool off if necessary? And by simply doing this, practicing just the recognition of these emotions, you can start to regulate and stabilize in a way that makes you more productive, and will garner you more opportunities professionally and personally. So we have our ship and we have our rudder, but we don't have a navigation system yet. And that is our intellectual fitness. We need to know where to go and when and how to get there to develop a path from point A to point B. The ancient Greeks were in a constant state of learning philosophy, geography, mathematics, and so on. In the modern world, we have an opportunity to do the same, only magnified. And yet, we find ourselves pacified by technology. If we continue to learn, and we build skills and become wise and become intelligent, then we can start to map our way out of whatever situation we might happen to be in. So when the storms come, we can maybe find a way forward when things look bleak. So we have our ship and we have our rudder and we have our navigation system, but we don't have anything to propel us forward. And that is fuel. We need finances to propel us forward. This is the resource that moves the ship along. If we don't have financial resources, then we are subject to the ebbs and flows of the tides. We are subject to the high winds and the storms. But no, what we need is resources so we can drive the ship where we want to go. And furthermore, if you have resources, you can reach down and help others become successful and help others guide their own ship forward. See, if you don't have resources, then you can't exactly help others who need resources as well. Furthermore, the fewer resources you have, the more constrained your perception of time becomes. Because when you have few resources, you are then concerned with the immediate needs and you have no ability to plan for the future. And as you get more resources, you have the opportunity to look forward weeks, months, years, decades, even generations down the line. Now, just because you have resources doesn't mean you will look that far forward. If we did, we would see that no lottery winner would become bankrupt. And we wouldn't see so many professional athletes who make millions of dollars in their career then only end up penniless. No, you have the opportunity to look forward, but you have to shift your mindset, and that is where the intellectual fitness and the emotional fitness comes in. But the question then is, how do you build financial fitness? Well, you have to apply the discipline that you learn in the physical fitness. You have to apply the emotional fitness to restrain yourself from making rash purchases. You have to apply your intellectual fitness so you understand where to put your money, where to invest, when to purchase. And then over time, you can build long-term resources that will help you when the storms come. So we can propel our vessel forward now, and we can steer it, and we know where we're going because we have a navigation system, but we're missing one key part, and that is the anchor. And the anchor is something that when we go into harbor, when we find safe harbor, the storms come, we can cast it off the ship and it anchors us to the ground, and we are tethered to that anchor. It is something that exists outside of us. And that is our spiritual fitness. Our spiritual fitness has to exist outside of us, because if it didn't, if it existed within us, then we are subject to the whims of our desires and our hedonism. We have no stability in our spiritual fitness if it is grounded within the self or if it is grounded within another individual. The danger here is that we are subject to moral relativism. And what might be moral now is not moral tomorrow. What might have been moral 10 minutes ago might not be moral now. See, that is a dangerous place to be. Not only from a practical sense, it's hard to remain a moral person if the sands are always shifting. But further, if we are all subject to our own moral point of view, our own moral relativism, our own narcissism, then we are atomized individuals bumping into one another and morally in competition with one another. And we are not aligned in a way that will make us prosperous and grow. So what have we built? We have built a ship that is ready for adventure. We have a vessel, a rudder, a navigation system, we have fuel, we have an anchor. These 5 pillars give us the opportunity then to pursue Arete for ourselves. See, the ship is not intended to sit in harbor, or worse, on stilts in the dry dock. No, this vessel needs to go out into the world and seek adventure. And with these 5 pillars in place, you can rest assured that you can manage any adventure that comes your way. And right now, there's a lot of opportunity for adventure and success. So go out, build your family, build your faith, and build something bigger than yourself. I'll see you next time.